been to work since March 11th.
The state takes action.
This will buy medication for my wife. My wife's an MS patient.
Providing hundreds of thousands of Coloradans with a one-time stimulus payment. Tonight, who's eligible and how you can receive the money.
Plus, new COVID restrictions are in effect.
That was just a total gut punch.
And a popular Denver restaurant already closing its doors a few days a week now questions how they're going to keep the lights on.
I told Mommy that if they lost them, they might be sad.
A 6-year-old now making sure young wildfire victims who may have lost everything have a stuffed loved one to cuddle with at night.
To help the kids feel better.
Governor Jared Polis says Washington has failed Coloradans, and he doesn't want to wait around any longer to help those who are out of a job.
And that is why he's now giving a one-time stimulus payment to hundreds of thousands of unemployed Coloradans. Denver7's Ivan Rodriguez spoke to one worker who says even though it's a small drop in the bucket, it is much needed.
Beth Smalls remembers the days when the Pepsi Center in Coors Field were packed with fans.
The joy of working to see the satisfaction on our fans' face at the end of a game, to know that we gave them the ultimate experience.
Beth worked as a cook at both venues until COVID-19 shut down much of the economy.
We haven't been to work since March 11th.
Since then, life has been a roller coaster, applying to countless restaurants only to find out many were also closing.
I want to work. I don't want to sit around on my butt.
She's been receiving unemployment benefits, but since that extra $600 in federal unemployment benefits expired, things haven't been the same. So when the state announced they were sending out $375 to about 435,000 people who make less than $52,000 a year, it felt like a weight was lifted off her shoulders.
I need shoes. I need clothes. This is really, truly needed. It's a small drop in the bucket for what we need, but it's truly needed.
State Representative Shannon Byrd, who helped the governor get this executive order across the line, says Colorado couldn't keep waiting for the federal government.
Coloradans have been suffering for too long. We have waited for help to come from the federal government. That has not been forthcoming. And we knew they couldn't wait any longer, so we helped them out. We had some resources that were available.
The state is coming up with $168 million, taking the money from several state funds, including the general fund. The state says they had extra dollars due to lower than estimated demand and Medicaid enrollment.
I want people to stop thinking that we're freeloading. We didn't ask to get laid off. We didn't want to get laid off. We were told we can't come to work.
Until she's able to return to work, she and so many other Coloradans will be thankful for the help along the way. You don't need to do anything to qualify for this stimulus check. For those of you who do qualify, the money will be distributed to either your Relia card or your bank account. The money is expected to be distributed in early December. Live in Denver, Ivan Rodriguez, Denver7.
I'm sure that's a big help. Thank you, Ivan. So what's the status of the stimulus package in Washington? Senators adjourned on Monday, won't return until November 9th. And although House Democrats and the Trump administration are narrowing their differences, there is still no deal. Both sides still disagree on the size of the package, including how much money should be included for expanded unemployment benefits. Democrats want to bring back the extra $600 a week. Republicans call that a disincentive to work.
New COVID restrictions are now in effect in several Colorado counties, and the owner of Denver's Blake Street Tavern says he's now forced to close the restaurant 3 days a week starting next week. Chris Fuselier says it's just not feasible to operate at 25% capacity. They were already struggling, he says, at 50% capacity. He says when they went to takeout and delivery back in March, he had to lay off 90% of his staff, and just, he says, as he was working to bring people back to work, he's now in a position where he has to furlough workers again.
We're a family, and this is their life, and this is their industry. And it just breaks my heart that I've got to tell them, hey, guess what? You normally work 40 hours, now you got to go down to 25. If it's not our fault, then why are we the ones being targeted here?
The restaurant will be closed Mondays through Wednesdays.
Colorado's small businesses hit hard by the pandemic are still waiting on the new stimulus package, and they say they'll need more than just cash to survive. A recent U.S. Chamber of Commerce study found that 57% of small business owners are basing their November vote on the economy and if they'll see any help from the government. Carlin Walsh is the owner of Elevation Beer Company in southern Colorado. He says total revenue is down about 60%.
I am not comfortable with what the next 3 to 4 months brings. So because of that, we have been putting more money than usual into savings.
Walsh says he needs to see more backing from Washington for small business owners in order to keep his doors open and staff employed.
Well, we mentioned those new restrictions now in place for counties that move to either safer at home level 2 or 3. These tough new guidelines will be in place until the counties can get the virus numbers back under control. The daily case count is not decreasing. Take a look. Another 1,400 cases reported today, and our state has now surpassed 100,000 total cases. Hospitalizations also increased again today. 721 people hospitalized. That's up from 648 just yesterday. We know 596 of those are confirmed cases of COVID-19. The other 125 suspected cases.
And as we see those numbers increase, Colorado hospitals are gearing up, increasing staff, stocking up on PPE. Healthcare workers at North Suburban Medical Center say they've learned a lot about treating the virus over these past 7 months, and they say they feel prepared, but they are still bracing for what's to come.
It's really set a new precedent for infection prevention and control, and is really going to change the dynamic of our profession moving forward.
Healthcare workers say they're already seeing an uptick in patients, but most are leaving the hospital faster than patients did earlier in this pandemic. Another tradition bites the dust. Next year's St. Patrick's Day parade in Denver has been canceled due to the pandemic. Parade organizers say it's still not safe to plan a large gathering. So with no 2020 and now no 2021 parade, the committee says their energy is going towards planning an amazing parade for 2022.
Another day in Grand County with no growth of the East Troublesome Fire. Crews said today they don't expect the snow to melt for 5 to 7 days, and once the snow does melt, that moisture will then be absorbed into all that dry fuel. And given that and the mixture of shorter and cooler days, fire crews don't believe conditions will align to cause this fire to re-explode. We're told we could see flare-ups along the northern part of the fire in the National Forest in particular, the place where crews have not been able to get containment lines in place. We know so many Coloradans have lost their homes in these fires, and among them, young children.
Denver7's Gary Brode met a 6-year-old Morrison girl who's donating her own money to help others feel more comfortable during this difficult time.
You are love.
Compassion can come in many ways.
I hope these help you.
And at any age.
The kids might want to go back home, but they can't.
After seeing the recent wildfire destruction in our state, 6-year-old Charlotte West is proof good is still in the world.
I told Mommy that if they lost them, they might be sad, so I wanted them to feel happy, and I'm giving them some stuffed animals.
Just asked if any kids had lost their homes, and I told her that there were probably some that had. And her biggest concern was, have they lost their stuffed animals and their blankies? Because those are the things that are most important to her.
Charlotte's mom, Christine West, reached out to the Grand Foundation to see if there was a need.
They said, yes, we have about 10 to 15 children that would love to have the teddy bears.
So Charlotte, using her allowance money, went online and picked out 15 stuffed animals for those kids.
Why are you happy about it?
Because I'm giving my money to somebody else.
She's even writing personal cards to children she's never met.
I hope these help you, I think. Okay, here you go. Oh my gosh, why did I not read the back?
The stuffed animals should arrive by the end of the week.
To help the kids feel better.
I'm so proud of her already at age 6, having the empathy that she does for other people.
Gary Brode, Denver7.
Okay, that is precious. And so many of you continue to show your support for the victims of these wildfires. We've raised more than $180,000 through Denver7 Gives. And you can still donate if you'd like on the denverchannel.com. Click Denver7 Gives. Under the drop-down menu, select Help Colorado Wildfire Victims. And now a quick update on the Cameron Peak fire. Like the East Troublesome fire, the snow really helped firefighters get a hold on the growth of this fire. Of course, we did see some parts of the fire smoking today, and unfortunately, we also learned more than 440 structures were destroyed. At least half of them were homes or cabins. The fire remains at 208,000 acres, and it is 64% contained.
The Colorado Attorney General's office says they have found evidence of voter intimidation at a Fort Morgan mobile home park. Bernie Pagel just received a cease and desist letter from the state. Pago left residents a letter on October 19th threatening to raise their rent if Joe Biden wins the presidential election. The letter also said if Trump won the election, rent would be frozen for at least 2 years. AG Phil Weiser reminds all Coloradans voter intimidation is a crime.
He did nothing right on this job.
Shoddy work and unfinished home renovation project.
I wouldn't pay 1 penny or 1 cent for this job, literally. That is how poor this job has been done.
Tonight, after several homeowners contacted Denver7 saying they're now out thousands of dollars, a local contractor's coming in to fix the mess, but he needs your help.
Colorado's first ski area is open, but questions about the season's future as COVID numbers spike in Colorado's high country.
It's going to be a chilly one again tonight, but coming up, a delightful warming trend.